campaign group for Women Scotland have done some research into what is going on in secondary schools in Scotland, and frankly, it's absolutely terrifying. Over 95% of students at Scottish secondary schools are being told they can self-identify their gender. I mean, we've just had the cash report in the England NHS. You'd think that might change some things, but the campaign group claimed that an unscientific, contested belief system has become so deeply embedded within classrooms as a result of SNP government guidance and the influence of radical activist groups. Well, I mean, let's face it, it's putting children at risk, is it not? Let's talk about this right now with Susan Smith. She's director of the campaign group for Women Scotland. Thanks for joining us, Susan.
Thank you. Nice.
I have to say, I mean, I think there are so many people involved in this these campaigns, you know, sort of try and bring some sanity back to this world on the trans issue, not just protecting women and children, but just, you know, facts and grammar and things like that. A lot of people thought that with Nicola Sturgeon going and also what's happened with the cash report, that actually there's been a real, you know, a real awakening and an acknowledgement that, look, this is all insane. Let's get back to reality things. But you know, your report shows that, no, it's carrying on apace.
Well, it's been in schools for so long. That's the problem. It's so deep-rooted. And in Scotland, it's probably been going for a lot longer, actually, than in England. And we have these very powerful, publicly funded organisations that are trusted. And we have the most appalling schools guidance that has been in schools, and it's really hard to root out. And what schools don't realise is that the information they are being given is actually not legal, and a lot of it's discriminatory.
And we know UK law trumps Scottish law on this. We've seen that with that attempt by Nicola Sturgeon and then her successor to actually, you know, try and change the law on these things, that they don't have jurisdiction. It's not one of the devolved powers. But this is the thing, telling children, and this again, any child, you know, oh, if you're a girl and you're not playing with Barbie dolls, and you're a boy, you don't want to play with trucks and play football with the other boys, that you maybe you don't see your gender. I mean, A, you might be gay, or B, you might just not conform to 1950s stereotypes of men and women. It is absolutely extraordinary that children are being told this, that you may not be in the right gender, you may identify differently. This is such a stupid concept, frankly. And the idea that you would teach this to children, I want my daughter, you know, everyone else's kids to be taught, you know, the 3 R's, useful stuff, factual stuff, not this, frankly, made up nonsense.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it goes beyond what is being taught. It's the school's policies, because as the report shows, 60% of schools are operating mixed-sex toilets, and 55 are operating mixed-sex changing rooms, which is
appalling, absolutely appalling.
And these are conservative estimates, because we had some schools where the information wasn't clear, and so they're not in there. There are very few actually that are saying they maintain single sex, and so, you know, for something like sport, there's only about, I think about I can't remember the number now, it's gone, but there's a tiny amount, I think it's about 14%.
But the idea that a 13 or 14-year-old girl, or boy, by the way, would want to be in a mixed changing room at school. I mean, that's the idea. People, I mean, that's the sort of thing that no wonder kids don't want to go to school anymore. I mean, that's absolutely horrific. No parent wants that. No, but is that not illegal?
Yes, it is. Actually, we'd got an opinion from Aidan O'Neill a couple of years ago, the KC who's been involved in our JRs, and we have sent it to schools, we've sent it to local authorities, and it says that what the school is doing is contributing to the harassment of girls, potentially. If girls feel harassed, they can bring a case, and they will bring the case again.
But they shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to. The law should be enforced, and every school should know the law. We've had this in English schools, like, oh, you know, the government's going to crack down. But again, after how many years? This stuff is so basic and it's so clear. And we know also parents who raise an issue, kids who raise an issue, kids are chastised, parents are told they're bigots and transphobes, and then nothing changes.
And we need, well, what we really need as a matter of urgency in Scotland is to get some of these organisations out of schools.
Yeah.
LGBT Youth Scotland, which gets about 1.6 million a year and gets
of taxpayers' money.
Well, $1 million of that is taxpayers' money, and they are going in schools and charging the schools for the privilege of teaching them stuff that they are already paid for by the government.
Yeah.
Go in, charge the schools, train these teachers, and they have said that they disagree with CAS.
So the CAS report, the scientific report. I mean, this is the thing. None of these bodies should be anywhere near these schools. I think a lot of these bodies, frankly, have some very questionable motives as well. Susan Smith, we'll have to leave it there. Director of For Women Scotland. Incredible report.